So I can't remember the scripture, even though I just used it on another video. I believe that it is 1 John 4 and 16. And if it's not, then I will correct it. It will be on the screen. But it basically states that God is love, and he that dwelleth in love dwelleth in God, and God in him. Okay, so I wanted to expound upon that as far as, the way that we dwell in God and God in us for those who are God's people. So when I was being initiated by Michael, Archangel Michael, that is, this was what he was trying to stress to me, the most was that we are literally in God. Okay, so in the third density, it's hard to understand that. It's just like having an ant, right? And the ant is in your house. From the ant's perspective, they don't know that they are in your house. Because the house is too big for them to see. They can only see what's in front of them, and just the perspective from whatever they can see from their perspective. They do not have the capacity to even fathom what the house is. The house is much greater than anything that they even have the capacity to imagine. And so I don't know where that analogy came from. Thank you, Spirit. I hope it makes sense, okay? But when Michael was trying to tell me, we are literally in God. Now, I was able to come to an understanding because of the things that were happening at the time, as far as, the atmosphere being changed and, and all of this. But, when you are just regular, when you're in the regular 3D, and you don't know about the supernatural, and you haven't experienced anything supernatural, then you being in God, even though you can look at the sky, you can see that it's infinite, you can imagine what's beyond it, or believe what people tell you is beyond it, but you really don't know. And, all of these, there's a lot that we don't know about our own world, okay? And so when he was saying, we are literally in God, okay, I understand now, though, because I understand what's happening as we are ascending into the higher densities, right? The So in 3D, the experience for the average human being is that it would not, let me take that back. Not the average human being, but for God's people, okay? The empathic people who are actually hosts unto the Spirit of God, okay? You have had this experience of God dwelling within you, okay? And whether you have recognized or acknowledged that this is what it is, this is where you draw your wisdom and your power and your strength from. God that is within you. This is why people don't like you. This is why they are jealous of you. It's what makes you very unique and peculiar, unlike anyone else, because you're a piece of the God puzzle. And so in the third density, God's people experience God dwelling within us. And we really don't, and then, on the outside, we carry probably much like the same perspective as even the NPCs, or the NPCs, they probably don't believe in God. So let me take that back too. Most of them don't. I mean, why would they, But anyway, people, the average person, they, who doesn't carry the Spirit of God within them, or who are not aware of it, or don't acknowledge some religions, people who have been indoctrinated by fear-based religions, they wouldn't dare acknowledge the Spirit of God within them because, they feel like it's blasphemy, because at that point we would have to then acknowledge that if the Spirit of God is within me, then that means that I am actually a piece of God, and they feel like they have to make themselves smaller in order for God to be God, because the God that they believe in is an exaggerated version of man. And, most men, unfortunately, are narcissistic. I said what I said. But back to the subject at hand. So, in 3D, God's people have had the experience of carrying the Spirit of God within us. And, we express that through our words, through the work that we do, through the love and all of these things, out of the mouths, or out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Yes, this is how our experience of God has been in 3D. But as we ascend into the higher realms, which is just ascending into greater levels of awareness and consciousness, we experience dwelling in God more so. It's not that God is not still dwelling within us, but it feels more like we are also dwelling in God. So it's like the visual that I get is a big heart with a bunch of little hearts within it. So the energy of the big heart is flowing all through all of the little hearts that are inside of it. I actually drew this on a piece of paper once, because this is how I know that we are in relation to God. It's like one big heart that encompasses all of the little hearts. And so yet, we each have our own identity. We are all part of the whole, and we are all connected through this energy of love, which is God. And as we move into the higher realms, we don't have to experience only feeling as if we are carrying the Spirit of God within us, but we will also know that God is all around us, and understand on a deeper level what the word within even means. It means I'm with and in you, meaning that I am next to you and beside you and all around you, and I'm also inside of you. I am all that is. I comprise the fabric of even the air that you breathe. This is truth. And so the movement into the higher realms is a movement of consciousness, because heaven and hell are states of mind, states of consciousness that then create states of being. So what we are doing is moving consciously as we expand in our consciousness, as we share a knowledge that we each carry bits and pieces of in different ways, as we share codes of light that come out in art, in music, in a myriad of ways, because God is, again, the fabric of all that is. So the wind, the trees, the birds, anything can be used as a vessel to speak to you. Hence the angel numbers that I see everywhere that I go. And for me personally, it is just reminding me of something that God told me, that angels follow me wherever I go. And so when I look up everywhere and I see these, it just reminds me that, God never lies, and God is just, and God is love, and God is here always and in all ways. And so this is the awareness that we come to as we enter into the fifth density and higher. The awareness that God is here. And so you should be able to rest, live, love, laugh, play, and rejoice. Finally, God is here.